Well, David and Mona, thank you for the lovely words, and thank you to the organizers of this event, Shmuley, for putting together this glittering evening, and for bringing together such an extraordinarily diverse group of honorees. It's nice to not have to hang out with other journalists. This award is called the Champion of Israel Award, and of course I'm very touched by it. I think it's a bit of a misnomer. My love of Israel is a personal issue that has to do with where I come from, the story of my family, my personal connections to Israel. But in terms of what I do at the Wall Street Journal, to which I hope you all subscribe twice, I don't see myself as a champion of Israel. I see myself simply as a champion of good journalism. And there's a distinction between the two. I'm not in the business at the Wall Street Journal of doing hasbara for Israel. I'm in the business of trying to tell the truth as I see it. I'm in the business of trying to perform or provide a historically literate and predictively accurate account of events in the world. I'm in the business of trying to explain to readers that there is a difference between victims in a war and the aggressors in a war. That it's important for journalists to understand something like cause and effect. And it's important for journalists to understand how it is that we arrived where we are and where it is likely that we may be going. That's all that I try to do as a columnist for the Wall Street Journal. And it just happens to be the case that time and again, it is incumbent on me and ought to be incumbent on other members of my profession to make the point that Israel is simply a country trying to live in peace with neighbors who will not allow it to live in peace. I'll just make one or two other points that I think are important. For each of us in any professional walk of life, including those professions that are supposed to abide by a certain code or standards of neutrality, nonetheless, we can't remain entirely neutral, or in fact, we can't remain at all neutral between societies that allow us to be who we are and societies that do not allow us to be who we are. It is only in Israel that you can be a woman and flourish as a woman. It is only in Israel that you can be an artist and flourish as an artist. It is only in Israel that you can be a journalist and have that essential right as a journalist to speak, as the cliche goes, truth to power. One of the reasons why Israel is so constantly scrutinized and so constantly attacked by too many members of the press is that Israel alone in the countries of the Middle East exacts no price on journalists who write what they wish to write, whether they're Israeli journalists or foreign journalists. It's a cost-free exercise to criticize Israel when you're a reporter living in Tel Aviv. That's not true in Ramallah. That's not true in Gaza. That's certainly not true anywhere else in the neighborhood, most certainly in the so-called Islamic Republic of Iran. And that's an essential difference, and it's a reason why I don't think any journalist can be neutral when it comes to the question of whether they support Israel or support Israel's enemies. Because ultimately that question is whether they support their own freedom and the conditions that allow them to be who they are, or support regimes that would destroy those freedoms. And I don't think that distinction is insubstantial. So what I try to do every week when I'm not writing about Donald Trump what I try to do is, again, shed some light on what is happening in the world and to stand up for those core values that all of us in this room share, whether you're Jewish or not Jewish. A love for freedom, a belief in the dignity of the individual, a belief in the possibility of the individual, and a belief that free societies, wherever they may be, ought to be defended in every way we can. Thank you for doing me the honor of giving me this award.